Haha! You thought I'd be late, but I was not. I'm in fact early to make up for. Okay, two minutes early is not going to make up for the fact that I was half an hour late last time. But in my defense, I made a really good coffee and I made it on time this time, so I'll call that a success. So I'm here with my duelist, who is level S38, which means I have. Okay, you actually can't see the percent because I've just realized that I'm covering it. Hold on a moment here. Let's see if we can just jump it up. There we go. 28% at level S38. Now, I am not aiming to hit cap level today. That would be not a conducive use of my one day off. Yeah, we're gonna focus on just getting some solid grind done for maybe about 3 hours. And hello, Plinko. I see that something appears to be... Oh, there it is. The chat is working. They didn't believe me when I said you got mad at me for the thing. I don't know who wouldn't believe that I wouldn't get mad at you, but I'm mad at you at least a solid, let's go 49% of the time. Let's be generous. Anyway, I'll admit it, I ate some experience books to get my second path weapon up there, so I was just waiting for it to finish its cooldown for switching it back to the one that I prefer. Yeah. Oh, I've got some more points now. Well, I'll probably need crit damage. I'm not going to be too worried about it. I can always reset it later. Whatever. Flat damage. I'm not going to do any zero damage dungeon. Oh, the defense might have actually been helpful. Anyway, behold my duelist. I have stolen all of my gear from my, what do you call it, my wizard. I've got the S35 Michaela duelist weapons, and I've got, just like I said, the same equipment that I use for everybody else. I am not using Agni here because I don't know that my crit damage is... Actually, my crit damage is pretty good. So Agni probably would be fine, but I didn't grab it, so we're stuck with dark scales, or black scales. Oh well. Starting off on the great foot. Now I did bring, oh gosh, while I was preparing, I got my hands on all of the experience buff items that I can. I decided not to use the fanciest Navia Feast because I figure I'll save that for when I'm actually aiming for the hitting cap level, so we'll stick with just the noble cuisine. But I had it all nicely sorted at the bottom of my page too, and then I hit the auto sort button out of habit. Campbell, hello! Sorry about not posting the time I was going to start earlier. I was going to do it before bed last night and then I got distracted. And then this morning I was trying to calculate what time I should start so that I could finish auto-linking on my other character, and I didn't finish auto-linking on the other characters, so I've still got some Eidolon links left. I'm hoping that there should be enough time after I finish to use up all the rest of my auto-links. Anyway, I gotta sort out my freaking experience items again now that I've messed them all up. Actually, we're not going to be using those today. That's not an experience item. I think that's everything. Oh, and the proof of mission. I still have proof of missions left on this character. Anyway, we'll just kind of go in reverse order of value. Silver and gold. I mean, these will use right away, so it's not like those need to be stowed away carefully. Proof of mission I'll have to be a bit more cautious with, since you can't get more. That should be the 20%. That should be the 50%. Oh, that's 100. And that one's 50. Okay. Oh, 7-day experience too. Lock the slots. Oh my gosh, you're totally right. You can lock the slots. I forgot that that was a thing that you could do. I'm just gonna quickly grab a 24-hour experience bonus too. I completely forgot. Saving in Aura Kingdom because of Genshin Cryo Argon. No. I'm not spending money on the Cryo Archon. Did you see how many cool dudes were coming up in Genshin too? Why on earth would I be saving for an Archon when there's dudes? Okay, so lock. Do not auto sort. Not auto sort. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot that that's totally a thing you can do. It's been so long. Alright, let's go. No, Plinko, don't say that. I would never. I was gonna head straight to the dungeon, but now I think I probably should grab some quests. So I'm just gonna be chilling, doing some dungeons, seeing how much a dungeon gets me with all of my bonuses active. And I am gonna be using my new controller as soon as I start the dungeon, but it's gonna be my first time playing this class with the new controller. So you'll have to excuse me if if it looks like I don't know what I'm doing, because I kinda don't. So I did, as I mentioned before, I did pick up the Steam controller because my old controller was not working very well anymore, and I had some Steam credit left from the contest that I won. Oh hey, Resonant! So, the best thing about the Steam controller I've experienced so far is that it's got more buttons, but it does get some getting used to, because I really did have to redo the entirety of all the binding and whatnot. I'm pretty confident my gear should be okay for doing Hell mode. Now I do have my Holy Manual, but I've still got some of the combo manuals, like the timed combo manuals, so I might, if we're struggling, I might switch to that. And I've brought various different food items because I don't know what's going to be most helpful. My accuracy seems fine, so we'll probably go with triple strike drink. And the only food I actually brought was the experience and move speed, so that's what we're gonna have to use. Cool. Oh, that was not the item I wanted to use. I'm pretty sure it'll just overwrite with the other one, but... Sorry, 3-day sprite. 1-day treasure charm, may as well, we're running dungeons, right? Experience from monsters and quests. I think I'll save that for when we're turning in quests. That's only 10 minutes. I brought my heart bondings just because I've got way too many of them anyway, but... 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a lot of bonus items. Have I dropped my controller yet? You know, it's funny because I did see that the Steam controller will apparently do the Wilhelm scream. But I believe that's what it's called. I don't remember the exact name of the scream, but I'm scared. I'm kind of scared to drop it, so I tried dropping it on my bed and it did not scream. Okay. Now, the big issue with my duelist, of course, is that I have a serious lack of AoE. So... But yeah, sorry, I did try dropping the controller on my bed just because I didn't want to drop it on the ground, and I have not been able to get it to scream yet, so I don't know if that's true. Has that actually like been confirmed that it'll scream if you drop it? Whoop, 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 whoop. Another issue is that I've gotten a little bit too I've gotten too comfortable moving the mouse on it, and I have a tendency to move it right off. Oh, you guys can't see the mouse anymore. I realized I just turned it off because I was doing some recording. Hold on a second. Show control or cursor. Okay, so it is actually confirmed that it does scream. I mean... I'm not gonna just drop it on my desk here. That would be so weird. Okay, I'll drop it once on my desk and we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm just gonna move my mouse out of the way. Over there. Oh, I don't like this. I don't know if you heard that, but I literally just dropped it on the desk. Wait, I may as well just throw it over onto my bed if that's the case. Come on. I'm not doing it again. You're making me feel silly. I feel like it's not necessarily like a very high chance. Purple graphic settings. I don't know actually. Purple is actually not one of my favorite colors. I know, it's shocking. But I've actually already taken a couple days off of work. Like I've marked some days off of work, so for my birthday party stream, which of course is going to culminate with the announcement of the full new design, which I'm very excited to share, I just kind of figured, even though I could do it right now, I kind of figured it would be fun to wait for my birthday so that I'd have at least something to celebrate on my birthday. Okay, that wasn't a fully charged butterfly stacks, I think. Ooh. Okay, so I'm not out healing it. We'll have to be cautious about that. But anyway, currently the plan for my birthday is I've got... Actually, that's a good point, Blade Liger. Hold on a second here. I will attempt to fake drop it. I don't know. It's just, that doesn't seem like it was working either. No, that doesn't appear to work. I think it's smarter than I am. We'll put it that way. The controller is smarter than me. Okay, so right now the plan for my birthday is I am planning on doing streams of a really old game again. As usual, I have a tendency to play older games that I really liked for my birthday. So this year I'm thinking Fragile, which was that Wii game. But I do need to make sure that the stuff that I've picked up, like I've bought an adapter for my capture card, I need to make sure that the Wii will actually work with it. So I'll be testing that out pretty soon. And then I'll announce for sure what it is. Okay, I think it's that thing that got me last time. Nope, that was still pretty bad. I promise I know what I'm doing. I do know how to play this game. Not Duelist, though. I'm not very good at Duelist. Alright, so there's going to be playing the old game Fragile, but then the other thing is that I figured I would split the I don't know if you saw on my post page, the posts page, I put up a picture of the of kind of my desk setup with the Xenoblade X robot, the Skell. I would like to do the building, so maybe do a little bit of the build every day. Okay, where'd my butterfly stacks? 2 stacks? 3 stacks? Four stacks? Is 4 stacks enough to nuke them? No. I got it used to using Q again. See, I haven't played Duelist properly in quite a while, so you'll have to forgive me. I'm just trying to remember how to get enough butterfly stacks. Nope, that was not it. And that fire is hurting. I don't like playing melee classes for the most part. Oh, my poor buff items. It's okay, I've got enough of them. And this is why we're not using the big fancy one, the Navia Feast. We're only using Noble Cuisine. But yeah, maybe I'll try with my keyboard to see whether or not it's actually the fact that I'm just not comfortable on the controller yet with this class. Oh, I should use buff too. Yeah, my stats look fine. It's 3 stacks, 4 stacks, 5 stacks, and I believe we can do up to 6 now. Yeah. Okay, so it is just that I'm struggling. Campbell, I'm sorry, it is just that I'm struggling a bit with getting the rotation right on the controller. In my defense, it's very different trying to play on a controller and with the mouse. So as you can see, I'm perfectly fine. If I just have to switch the keyboard every time I hit the boss until I'm used to it again, it's fine. But yeah, so anyway, I'm sorry I got distracted again because of the fighting. But I am hoping to be able to do my robot build over the couple days for my birthday. So I'm thinking like maybe I don't know how long it'll take for the building the scale, but I am hoping to do like maybe an hour of scale building and then a couple hours of gaming and for a couple days straight right up to my birthday. And then on the course on the 25th would be the design reveal, which I'm super excited about. Oh my gosh. I've been making those shorts. And I've kind of got a little plan for to do one every week if I'm able to get the if I've got enough time between working overtime. And I actually had plans for specific stuff that I was gonna do for the radio show as well, just as a little bit more hype for anybody that really wants to go deep on the midday lore, but I don't know if I'll have enough time. Okay, I think I need to switch up which skills are on the control bar. Yeah, I guess when Aura Kingdom came out, we were in like the same kind of era that the first season of the Sword Art Online anime was airing, was it? I feel like that was right around the same time. There was hype for Sword Art Online around that time. And they definitely used duelist as one of their, like, what do you call it? Like, main advertising classes? Like, that's what they were using for a whole bunch of the promotion? Okay, I don't remember which skill stack. Butterfly. It would have been hilarious if the person that actually had the name Kirito was not a duelist. That would have been hilarious. Oh, you know what it is? I don't have the skill. I don't have the skill with the backstrike thing on my bar. Okay, I think we'll probably replace that one. Would have been accurate if Kirito was a guard. I mean, yeah, I guess you gotta hide that you're a dual wielder, right? Alright, come on. No, I goofed it again. Four. 3. Roll. Whoop. No, it still didn't one shot. Okay, the last boss in this dungeon has a tendency to just stand around and do nothing, so probably a better chance to, test out trying to do the rotation properly there, but I feel like maybe it would be in my best interest to actually, like, spend a little bit more time on the keys, just to remember how to play the class properly. Because it has been a while since I've properly done dungeons. For the most part, I'll do daily quests and, oh, maybe pulling up this many mobs is a bad idea with duelist. But yeah, for the most part, leading up to a character going for the cap challenge, I'll be just focusing on daily quests, and yeah, no, that was expectable. Actually, do I have any feathers? It might be a smart idea to have some with how... Oh, I did. I could have used a feather. Whoops. Okay, it's fine. Have a sip of coffee. Okay, so someone sent me a video and it's like the best vanilla latte you'll ever see. And yes, that someone was Plinko. But there I am looking at it and it's like, oh, well, they want you to get this special kind of sugar to make a specific kind of syrup, and also you should use vanilla paste. And I'm like, I'll just use vanilla extract like normal. But then they wanted you to get lactose-free milk, not because of you're lactose intolerant, but because apparently lactose-free whole milk just tastes slightly sweeter, but technically the sugar content isn't any different. It's just that the lactose has already been lactased, so it tastes sweeter. But yeah, no, Pligo was like, you should try this recipe, and so there I am staring at the double the price milk with lactose-free milk. I would say it still is. I mean, your body breaks down the lactose anyway, so it's just pre-digested milk. I regret to inform my wallet that unfortunately it does taste quite good, so perhaps well, I don't know. We'll see how long it takes me to get through the jug of lactose-free whole milk that I bought, but it was like $6 for 2 liters, whereas normally I pay $6 for 4 liters, right? Everything's expensive. Very sad. But you know, if it's good enough, it's totally worth it, right? Because at a cafe, $6 is gonna get you what? 1 latte? Prices do be like that nowadays. Oh, I'm literally doing the exact same thing that I just died doing. Okay, I think one of the main issues I've got is that I tab way too frequently. So if I'm not close enough to the target that I end up on, I'm not able to keep up the DPS on these mob groups. But again, duelists just do be like that. It does not have any AoE. Or at least the AoE is extremely minimal. So you can't bring up too many mobs if you can't keep the pressure on. So I just gotta be cautious not to tab as often. Now that backstrike one, is that actually a gap closer too? Because it looks like it might be faster than the dark spinny one. Okay, it is. So we'll kind of just have to focus on using that after a tab to make sure that we're within range to keep hitting, to keep life stealing. Plus that gives me one of the butterfly stacks. Lactose-free milk is still dairy milk, though. It's just, like I said, it's been, the enzyme that breaks down lactose has just been added in advance. So it's, like I said, pre-digested, but it is still made from dairy milk. Unlike the various nut-based alternatives or oat-based alternatives, where I think there's something to be said about the fact that the reserving the word milk for actual dairy products is probably in the interest of the consumer for clarity's sake. But yeah, I don't know if I vibe with the idea of milk. Okay, well I got half his life on that one, so this guy's super easy though. He barely attacks. There. Milk. Well, that's the point, is that you're trying to use the word in a way that identifies that it is not dairy, and I get that. Like, I feel that the idea behind preserving the word milk specifically for actual dairy products is probably in the, like I said, in the consumer's best interest. But casually calling it like almond milk or oat milk, I'm fine with that. As long as when you're actually purchasing something at the store, you know what it is that you're getting, right? It's not like deceptively being called like chocolate tea topping. That's the one that bothers me. Yes, I am just finishing hell, and it was kind of hell. Then Q, pop. Wow, that did not do that much. I thought I had 5 stacks. Oh, wrong button, that's a 3, roll, and pop. Look, I made it through, so what are you gonna say? I still beat it. Does anybody with AoE want to run with me? Yeah, I don't know about American cheese, whether or not, if you were to introduce cheese as like a protected term, if it would still apply, but I'm personally not a fan of it, so I don't have it. Although I have heard that, so there's a decent amount of sodium citrate in American cheese, which makes it so that if you add just a little bit of American style, like, well, those sheets of, like, really plasticky cheese to other kinds of sauces, it helps it emulsify really, really well. I mean, the alternative, of course, is if you accidentally buy 2 kilograms of sodium citrate that's been sitting inside your cabinet for, like, oh gosh, has it been 5 years? Listen, all I'm saying is that if you wanted to try use American cheese to help make it so that when you make cheese sauces, it's very silky smooth, I'm all for that, because the alternative of purchasing way too much sodium citrate and then having to store it for years and years and years on end is not great, and I speak from experience. I don't know whether or not there's a specific percent of cheese, but from my understanding, it's just there is dairy product in there. It's just been treated with various extra ingredients that give it that sort of plasticky, melty texture. And again, one of those is sodium citrate, which is why you can use it as a replacement for sodium citrate to make very smooth cheeses out of, like, cheese sauces out of other kinds of cheese without adding flour and whatnot. Also, hello, Beefy. Alright. Let's see if I can do it without switching to keys again this time. Whew! That was actually kind of dicey there. There was a solid chance that I wasn't going to make it. But you know, speaking of cheese though, because you got me thinking about it, it's been so expensive. I had to not get cheese last week because I was looking at it like, man, $10 for a block of cheese. And that's just cheese. I remember back in the day when my grocery budget for the week was $40. Can you imagine spending a quarter of your grocery budget on just cheese? That would be insane. Or living the dream. It could be either. It could go either way. But yeah, no, I decided that even though it's $10 for a block, I decided to get a block of cheese this time. I'll cut it into chunks and freeze some so that it goes farther. How did humans progress so much? I don't know if you're talking about the American cheese or the cost of groceries, but just, it's sad. It's so sad. And then, of course, there I am spending an extra $6 on a second kind of milk. Hey, Lousy, I completely forgot about making a brick to put on stream. I promise you that I will do it one of these days. That day is just not today. I mean, actually, before I started the stream, I was so on top of making a nice coffee, and then I got distracted trying to get all the gear I was going to need for leveling up here. I feel like I'd be happy if I got to 50%, and that feels like it might be a bit of a reach. Despite all of the bonuses that I activated. But I do need to spend the afternoon cooking again because I am almost out of soup. And I do believe it was Campbell earlier that asked about what soup I was going to do for my birthday. And quite frankly, I feel like birthdays are for special food. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to want, at the very least, tiramisu. And then I might have like a go out for dinner or something. Him with the back strike heel. Campbell soup. Oh, the expensive brand name soup. That's what you're talking about, eh? I'm thinking tiramisu and maybe Korean fried chicken. I didn't see if my butterfly stacks were still active when she did that. Or when I hit her. I'm pretty sure they don't expire that quickly. Yeah, see, fighting the boss is no big deal. It's just the not dying part. Don't go back and see how the first boss went. That's all I'm saying, eh? Actually, come to think of it, did we get... Oh no, we got in just after the reset, so it's not like I'm in a rush to try and do it 4 times. I would have to admit that I'm not super familiar with many parts of Korean culture, but the Korean chicken restaurants around where I live, I've never been to one that was bad. Which is more than I can say about the Canadian fried chicken restaurants. And specifically there, I'm calling out Mary Brown. Because I went to Mary Brown, you know, I actually forgot that I had gone there. And so I asked some friends, because I really wanted some fried chicken yesterday. So I asked some friends, and I was like, yo, has anybody here been to Mary Brown? Like, are they any good? Because I know that there's one not too far from where I live, and that's a Canadian chain of fried chicken. And they were like, yeah, it's fine. But then I was going back through, some photos on my phone, and I saw that I did go to Mary Brown, and they gave you, like, the teeniest sliver of chicken, like, this teeny sliver of fried chicken in a sandwich, and charged $15 for it. It's like, come on. For that price, I could have gotten 3 chicken breasts at the grocery store. Or maybe 2. But still. I know that it's the part that costs the most. But if you want to talk about getting ripped off by Canadian restaurants and meat portions, one time I went to freaking Triple O's. It's like the fast food chain version of White Spot, if you've ever heard of either of those. But I went to Triple O's and I ordered 2 burgers because I had a coupon, and I'm like, yo, friend, let's have burgers. And they freaking did not put the burgers on the burger. It was just a bun, lettuce, tomato, and sadness. Like, and of course, I being myself, I actually had gone online. This is the worst part. I just finished a 12-hour shift at work, and I was like, I'm not cooking. I have coupons for triple O's. Okay, let's just have triple O's for dinner. So I'm on the way home from work. I'm really exhausted. I did not check the bag. I get home. I sit down at my computer. I'm ready to game. I pull out my burger. And there is no burger. There was no burger on the burger. Sadness is cheap. And maybe the burgers are the friends we made along the way. I'm not sure about you, but I typically don't turn my friends into burgers. Veggie burger. Veggie burger would have even been better. Like, I don't know if you've had like those patties that are like just cheese and rice and stuff like that, but those are actually usually pretty darn good. This was just sadness. I filed a complaint with their head office, especially since, like, I had literally gone on Google and looked at a review for the restaurant and seen a review that said that they did not put a burger on my burger. And in my brain, I'm like, oh, well, if they've done it recently, then there's a solid chance that they've been talked to about it, and then they won't forget the burger again. Like, in my brain, I'm like, okay, seeing a review that says they forgot the burger means there is a less chance that they would do it again, right? No. But yeah, no, I filed a complaint with their head office online with a photo of my burgerless burger and literally never heard anything back, so that was fun. Maybe calling it a veggie burger is like the wrong way to go about it. It's bad branding. Oh, portobello ones. Yeah, I've had the mushroom ones too. Those are really good. I mean, mushrooms technically aren't vegetables, but yeah, for sure the mushroom-based patties that you can have on like sandwiches, those are good. And so maybe the problem is just advertising it as a burger replacement when really it should just be striving to be itself. Right now I'm getting hungry. Oh, and I'm gonna have to spend like a solid... but I was gonna say an hour, but I guess for the soup that I'm planning, I'm not really gonna have to spend an hour actively cooking it. It's just gonna be a little bit of prep and let it simmer. Yeah, the Beyond Meat feels like... I don't think it tasted that bad, but it does feel like it's barking up the wrong tree. They should be trying to create things that are just tasty on their own rather than trying to... create... Well, then again, I suppose attempting to mimic a burger with non-burger items for people that feel like they could never give up burgers is a great first step. But they're really overpriced, and to my understanding, they were quite high in like sodium and stuff, so they weren't very they weren't actually a healthy alternative. It was just a non-meat alternative. I actually saw recently somewhere about people saying that because of how normalized meat eating is in society, people that are vegetarian, when they're trying to recreate recipes and stuff, it can be like really demotivating to not find things that work in place of those. So mimicking meat for those kind of things just because you want to experience different kinds of food, I feel like that's perfectly acceptable. I don't have anything wrong with it. But in terms of like attempting to convince people to go vegetarian by simply trying to recreate the flavors of meat vegetarian wise, I don't know that that's ever going to work. So it's not for us, it's for them. Or, you know, people that got bit by the Lone Star tick. That's a scary one, actually, in my opinion, is the spread of the Lone Star tick. So make sure you're watching out for ticks and checking yourself after going for walks. A vegetarian bike frame? I don't know where you got vegetarian bike frame from, but that was probably me flubbing on a word and I've already forgotten. I don't know if it's so much pretending that it's meat so much as it is attempting to just like focusing on the reduction of harm towards animals. But as a non-vegetarian, it's probably not my place to try and ascribe a specific intentionality to what vegans or vegetarians choose to do. I keep forgetting about dodge roll. I really don't like that boss with the stun. Is that 55 stacks of dim glow? Yeah. Did you guys know I actually changed my costume for this stream? My costume for my character was actually attempted to be was attempting to be a cosplay of a child from Genshin, but then for the thumbnail I used the fancy blue costume, so I had to re-roll it so that I could actually use this costume and make the thumbnail not be so much of a lie. Now the thing about lower emissions is that it's also super expensive. Tempeh I've never tried, but you know what I have tried is seitan, which is actually just gluten, right? I mean, there's more to it than that, but yeah, it's like, fundamentally, it's just like straight gluten. It sounds like an anti-health food, but it's actually really, really satisfying in terms of like the bite and the way that it can hold flavors and the way you can season it. Very tasty. Although tempeh I do want to try, I just haven't been able to find it. Oh yeah, that's where I put F. Okay, I think I'm starting to kinda lock in a bit more, but I'm not thinking too carefully about the rotations. I'm just kind of hitting buttons still. Whoop. Is it something that you could make on your own? Because I feel like I might have seen recipes for how to make tempeh. But in my understanding, I thought that it was slightly fermented, which would be a little bit risky for me to do, considering how I've had very bad luck with fermented items. Okay, we'll hit them with that. I guess that was only 3 stacks. Probably should have waited for 5. You know, when I was at the store today, I was actually debating between beans or lentils for my soup, and I ended up going for beans because they had these 6 bean mixes that were on sale. You buy it already fermented. Yeah, I feel like I would be a little bit nervous to ferment things at home because I've had extremely bad luck with even things as simple as just basic pickling. Chicken is a great vegetarian option. I don't know about that, Plinko. I think you might be a little bit wrong there. Oh, okay, soybeans. And it's got some, like, a pretty dense texture like the portobello mushroom, or... You know, I betcha if I were to go to some specialty grocery stores, I'd be able to find it. It's just a matter of the price, right? Actually, that reminds me. One of these days, I'd really like to try properly doing like a crunchy tofu. You know, it's funny you say that, Plinko, because we actually don't have a walking distance grocery store. lab-grown meat has less emissions because it doesn't fart. You know, I've also heard that burping is a big part of it too for cows. So let's not blame everything on farting. But yes, I don't actually take the car grocery shopping. I only walk to the grocery store. Part of that is because it makes it a little easier to not over shop because you know you got to carry everything home. But it does mean that I don't really have the option of getting anything that my local store doesn't have. Okay, that is 6 stacks, so we'll hit him with the snow. Almost got him down with that one. Okay, I remember they changed this. Is it still a buff to 9% damage stacking up to 2 times? Ba, ba, ba. Okay, it doesn't actually have the crit damage bonus, but it does increase target's physical, ice, and holy skill damage. So we do want to stack Snowflower twice when we're doing this. Okay, as you can see, it's been a while since I've reread all of the duelist effect. Back in the day, Snowflower would increase your next hit by like 75% crit damage or something. Although, frankly, since I'm overcapping crit damage, it's not like that would have helped anyway. I am overcapping it, right? 510. Mm, 400. Yeah, I'm overcapping it. Actually, what is this one even doing? Physical? Oh, I don't know that flat def is really going to help me much here either, so I'll put Snowflower there. Probably better. What is my favorite? Do you really need to ask what my favorite food is? Is coffee a food? And I got turned around. Now, as far as coffee's not a food, okay, well, if we're talking desserts, tiramisu's gotta be my favorite dessert. But it's not like you can sit down and eat tiramisu every day, every meal, and still survive. Oh, hey, Neza! Favorite food? Gosh, I mean, fried chicken would sound too cliche, considering how much I talk about it, but I really do like foods that have really, really strong acidic sauces. So something like a fried chicken or a tonkatsu with like really thick tonkatsu sauce. Or even pasta with a lot of sauce. I guess I just really like things that have a lot of sauce. Oh, but actually one of my favorite dishes that we only eat once a year would be the I guess the is it Polish style? No, it's from the Ukrainian cookbook, sorry. So it's the Ukrainian style stuffed crepes. Also known in our family as nalesnike. And what they are is the ones that we like the best are like creamy mushroom filled crepes that are then baked in the oven with whipping cream on top. As you can imagine, that's a little bit too rich, so we only have it like once a year. But it's one of my favorite dishes. But I wouldn't call it my... It's really hard to pick one piece of food and say that's my favorite one. So the criteria to be a midday favorite would be strong flavors, lots of sauce. Wait, does the somersault still buff? After landing, your evasion rate will be increased by 20% and damage by 20%. I don't know that that even helps, does it? Unless that's, not ghost pepper chicken. I'm miserable with spicy things. Okay, so... Okay, yeah, no, that's flat damage, right? Because if we go in detailed... Yeah, so it's just flat damage from the somersault. It's nothing too fancy. So I think the somersault isn't really going to make that much of a difference here. Do the one chip challenge for your birthday. Does that mean I need to pull out the game chips challenge? Actually, wasn't there some people that got really ill from the one chip challenge recently? I feel like I saw that in the news. Well, I'll look into it and see whether or not that's even something that's available where I am, like if I'm able to find them for not an unreasonable price. And yeah, we'll go from there, see if it's possible. Two of you at the same time accusing people of being too weak for chips. That was some real hive mind you got going on there. But... no, for real though, I thought there was, I don't know whether or not it was hospitalized or actually didn't make it after eating the one chip challenge. Well, I like I said, I'd have to look into the price of it. If the actual branded one chip challenge is too much, mayhaps I simply find an extremely spicy salsa and get some normal chips. If you guys insist that there must be some kind of torture food happening. For my birthday, no less. Gosh. Well, I'm a wimp, so what you're saying is that you'd like me to spend my birthday in the ER in Canada? Can you imagine showing up to the ER on your birthday because you ate a chip? That would be kind of bad. Yeah, from my understanding, they are not intended to be eaten by kids or by people who can't handle so don't be a wimp. That's such great advice. Why didn't I consider that when I started disliking spicy food? Gosh, you're so right. What was I thinking? Although really, what was I thinking playing duelist? Come to think of it, my Eidolon hasn't been out for a while. Well, the problem with just the advice being don't be a wimp is that, unfortunately... Wait, Wax? Lousy, they're trying to get me to eat spicy food, and not just any spicy food, but the one chip challenge. Okay, so that's 6 stacks of that. Then we'll hit you with the heal and the... Okay, well that is doing about half his HP in one hit. Well, you want me to be the first then? Oh my gosh. There's a difference between strong flavor, like a lot of sauce on pasta, or a lot of vinegar in a sauce, but I'm bad with spicy food. Oh, Crony didn't, and she survived. Well, if Crony jumped off a bridge, would you? The answer is probably actually yes there. They discontinued it? Oh no, then I guess we won't be able to do it. What a shame. Sorry, guys. I must try. I don't know if I ever would want to try every coffee in the world. That would be very expensive. Actually, that's a defeatist attitude. I can't stop myself just because it's expensive. One chip challenged. You know, it does make sense that they would discontinue it. It is a bit too gimmicky, right? Like once you've extracted all of the once you've extracted all of the possible profit out of it, it's not like you'll make that much more, right? All right. Did I manage to do precisely 4 dungeons in an hour? Yes. Yes, I did. That was pretty bad. It's called credit card debt. Oh gosh, I could never. I pay off my credit card every month. Or, oh no, sorry, my apologies. Is this where I'm supposed to plug my, you can donate me a coffee? And then I'll go spend it at the same cafe I always do, because I love it. I mean, I'm no marketing expert. It just feels like the one chip challenge isn't the kind of thing that has such a huge appeal that it would sell that much after the fad, the craze is gone. I actually haven't heard anything about it since I saw the article where it was either some kids got really ill from it or were in the hospital from it or something. I don't remember the details. It was quite a while back. So I guess you're just gonna have to deal with no one chip challenge. So the current schedule for party this July is we have Robo building, my Xenoblade X skill. Oh hey Firelander! I am actually working on my 3rd. I had a coffee bright and early this morning, and then I had 2nd coffee, and then I went to the store on a mission and purchased some fancy milk to do a 3rd iced coffee, and it's actually going quite tasty. Milk was expensive though. But that's what you get when you want fancy milk. Wait, hold on a second here. You tried it, Plinko? And you're telling me that they couldn't figure out how to do a package for a single chip and not let it get stale? That's impressive in its own right. Oh shoot, I forgot. We're gonna get stun locked. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's right, I hate this boss because stun lock. Sorry, just gotta focus for a second. Okay, okay. I seem to feel like that's way worse on ranged, actually. Do your bodies even get any effects from caffeine anymore? I would say that when I'm not, like, when my health is in a worse condition, caffeine has much less of an effect on me. But as as you guys might have remembered, I was working very hard on trying to become healthier over the beginning of this year especially, and I'm still continuing on that. So now that I'm actually in a much better condition than I used to be, the caffeine actually will keep me awake a little bit at night, but you're right that to a certain extent, once you've become desensitized to caffeine, it doesn't do as much, but like the worse I'm feeling in general, the less of an effect it has. Which is so weird. You know, that could be possible that way, Blinko. I mean, once your blood is entirely replaced with coffee, it's like your normal operating level is just that there is that much caffeine, right? Why are you guys pushing me away? And I also have to recover my weapons here, so just a moment. Too much seasoning, it ended up being that way. Recommend a 6-piece chicken wing and one of them being spicy and the others being good flavor. I don't know. You think if I went to just a local store and was like, hey, do you mind doing something funny? I feel really nervous about walking into a restaurant, like a local restaurant, and just being like, hey, do you wanna do something silly with me? Maybe that would be fun for my birthday. Just walk into the local Korean Korean restaurant that does the really nice fried chicken and be like, hi, so can you do something silly for me? Sorry, I'm gonna try and do this with the controller rather than switching over to the keyboard. Oh, hello, Jax! Yes, this is the official server. I'm just getting distracted here looking for something to repair my weapon. Resonant, I do like black coffee, and in fact at work I only drink black coffee because I find they have one of those fancy machines with the milk powders, and it's not very tasty with the milk powder, so I just have black at work. As for the coffee that have been passed through the digestive tract of a small animal, it's the civets. Yes, I actually have had that before, and it is shockingly delicious. It's very expensive, and I don't know that I necessarily agree with the way that the animals are treated. Funny thing about that is my friend actually brought civet coffee to work once. And she was like really nervous. She didn't want to tell me what it was because she was worried that I would have that exact reaction. It's not like there's any animal waste left on it. And in fact, they're roasted after they've been passed through the system. So, they're roasted after they've passed through the animal. So it's not like there could even be any kind of microbial bacteria left, right? And yes, this is the global version. I've actually tried Impact. Not a fan. This one is so much more chill. What do you mean, what's wrong with me? You know, there's ground up bugs in chocolate? Is that going to affect your ability to enjoy chocolate? Or is that where you just say protein? Well, I actually don't like ketchup directly. I only like ketchup when it's been used with other things to make it a slightly more complicated flavor, but... I mean, fair enough. I know that it's not for everybody, but if I'm on a mission, as Lousy has now commanded me, to try every coffee in the world, civet coffee is one variety of coffee, and I have tried it. But I mean, like, manure is a big part of fertilization as well, right? So I don't know how you could say that you got gummy tissue. Hello, Alan. This is actually the neither, because technically the area version doesn't exist anymore. So for area, they transitioned the publishing rights back to the original developer, X Legend. So you could say this is the server that came from Area, but currently Area doesn't run it anymore. X Legend does. Also, I actually don't allow discussion of the TOE server here. I am one of the volunteer moderators for the official server, so I don't discuss the private servers. You can try and see how many different beans you can eat. You know, I know some people do the chocolate-covered coffee beans, but it doesn't really do much for me. Hey, no worries, Ellen, but thanks for stopping by and checking it out. And, Firelander, that is an extremely good point. At least with Civet Coffee, you're not, you're not, under any illusion as to where it's been. A P.O. box to get coffee gifted from all over. I don't think people would actually send beans in the mail. That would be kind of crazy. Or is that where I set up a throne for just coffee beans? No, I don't think I'd do that either. human coffee? I don't think that's a thing. Now, I might be retelling a fanciful story, but to my understanding, the origination of civet coffee came from civets inside plantations that just well, I don't think I'd try human coffee because I feel like that might not be the same thing. Basically, what happens is the civets eat the coffee berries, and the story that I understand to be the origination of civet coffee is the civets would eat the coffee berries, and then they would find that the beans were not digested in the waste, but through passing through the stomach lining or the stomach of the civet, they was affected by the acid, which then changed the flavor profile after it was roasted. That being said, nowadays you would not find civet coffee made in such a way that there was like free roaming civets around a plantation. It's animals in cages. It's not. I wouldn't not go out of my way to purchase it because I don't really like the idea of the way that it's made. Not because there's animals involved at all, but because of the way that the animals are treated. I mean, you could call me hypocritical for still eating. You could call me hypocritical for still eating meat, but it is what it is sometimes. Civets would also pick only the best coffee cherries? Actually, I did not know that. Makes sense, though. Ooh. Oh, this guy kind of sucks for melee players. Goodness, how was I even supposed to get out of that? I'm gonna switch to keyboard for a second here, because that feels odd. And I had feathers and I didn't use them again. Okay, well that's fine. We're just gonna auto-path and I'll drink some coffee. Hello, Yuruha. It's not actually just the waste of the animal, it's that the beans that were inside the coffee cherries. I call them berries, I guess they're actually technically called cherries. They weren't digested, so they were still there inside the waste. And that's probably where they looked at it and they thought, oh, I may as well roast them. I'm going to waste anyway. And Jax, I actually don't. I do kind of want to get started on it, but I swear everything I hear about Twitch nowadays is that it's, Twitch has been going weird. Like in terms of the direction that the forced advertisements go and stuff. Like, I turn off my advertisements on YouTube. It's my understanding that you actually can't do that for Twitch once you're monetized. Do you have a favorite coffee? Coffee from Veracruz that has a light cinnamon flavor. Okay, well, let me get out the let me get out a notepad because I want to write that down because you've got me interested. Might be expensive to import over to Canada, but you know what? If I'm on a mission to try the coffees of the world, Veracruz. Don't go to Twitch, I'll be labeled a LARPer. Oh no, LARPing at what? There's so many Aura Kingdom streamers out there. I'm sure that they'll call me a LARPer because I'm so miserable at it, despite having so many high-level characters. Debated, but the quality of civet coffee has gone down since they started to farm it. Totally makes sense. I'm not a VTuber LARPer. I am a legitimate VTuber with a miserable model. That's all. Okay, hold on. So Veracruz coffee. Actually, you know, the kind that I'm currently drinking, I made espresso out of some beans that I got from a local roastery. I don't remember what the origin was. Hold on a second. Let me quickly check out because I have to order it online because they're local, but they don't have a physical store in person. Agro Coffee is the brand that I'm currently drinking from. So hold on a second here. It was called Harvest Moon, which is a medium to dark from Peru and Sumatra. Actually, is Sumatra in Peru? It might be. I'm really bad at geography. Don't get mad at me. But in terms of favorite beans, I'm actually not exceedingly picky about the beans themselves, because I find that every coffee I've ever had something really interesting about it. And I've never had one that I tasted it and was like, oh, this is awful, besides like some of the pod coffees that come out really acidic. I'm not a huge fan of that. Gila Cafe. Okay, I'm ready. I'm adding it to my note. Gila Cafe. Except that one coffee. Which one? Oh, right, I was gonna do it with keyboard because this guy's annoying. Gotta avoid getting behind him because I think if I go behind him, I'll be inside that barrier thing. Is that gonna be? Oh no, that's half his HP, but... I think the most distinctive coffee, I'm going to say distinctive because I still liked it, but the most distinctive coffee I've had was one that was really, really smoky. Now, I'm like 99% sure it was not that there was a mistake made and they were like, wow, this coffee's smoky. I'm like 99% sure it was intentional. But that one just had... It was so different, like it was so significantly different from everything else that I've tried before that like I think I preferred that one with milk because then it gave you a bit more like as in lattes and not just like a espresso or as like a French press full, because the smokiness of it was really, really overpowering when you had it just as like coffee. And I'm not going to say I didn't like it, but it's like it brought another level to like an iced coffee or a latte with the milk. And I will admit that the majority of the time when I'm making coffee at home, I'm making a latte, because the only piece of equipment I have now since my French press broke is a manual espresso press, which takes quite a bit of effort. And if I'm going to put that much effort in, I may as well go all the way and make a latte, right? Yo-ho-ho. But today, since we're talking about coffee again... speaking of working, do you feel Duelist is in good place balance-wise? Well... Versus enemies that have those shields where you have to hit them a certain number of times to break the shields, Duelist slaps because of how many extra hits they're getting in here. But comparing it right now to my Whipmaster... Despite the fact that both of them have very little AoE, and they're very much up in your face, the Whipmaster has better AoE for like its short range and does more damage. So I feel like maybe if I was better at Duelist, I might have a different opinion, but right now I'm finding that Duelist right now to me feels like Whipmaster on a bad day. Buy one of the crazy over-engineered coffee machines. Actually, I spend very little on coffee equipment because I don't really have... I know it sounds crazy coming from someone who's just put in like a ridiculous amount of money for getting a custom VTuber model made, but I actually don't like to spend a whole bunch on coffee equipment. I would rather spend that money on like beans. So what I have is probably one of the better but cheaper things you can do for espresso, which is a manual press. So basically, if you look up a manual espresso press, you'll see, but it's just like an apparatus with a big old arm, and you have to put in ground beans and hot water, and then you pull down on it with your arm, and it's got like a little pressure gauge, so you can like regulate how much pressure you're putting on it with your arm to keep it like nice and consistent throughout the extraction, but it's a fuss. And of course I've got a manual bean grinder as well, so that's another one of the more expensive items that I've purchased. I think it was a little over $100 for a really nice hand grinder. But other than that, I use my stove to heat up water. And I do have a stovetop steamer for milk, but it does take quite a while to go. So I mean I think I got that one as a present, so that was I get a present, so I didn't really invest in that. And otherwise, yeah, it's like I got my press and I got my grinder. Oh, I got one of those little tools for dispersing the bean grinds inside the portafilter type thingy, whatchamacallem. And yeah, that was again a present, so I guess that wasn't something that I particularly invested in, but I did ask for it as a present, so I know that that's another fancy coffee equipment. But I try not to go too overboard because I don't have a lot of counter space. But even my last espresso machine, the one that I had before this one, I received it second hand. So I never have spent like a bajillion dollars on a super fancy espresso machine. And then before that, it was, oh,
At
thank you.
Navides 1480 became a member.
Welcome to the beans! Oh gosh, I got distracted. My heart stopped for a second there. But yeah, I don't really spend a ridiculous amount on the equipment itself. I'd rather spend the money on the beans. And now you get a little clock next to your name! I made the clocks, by the way. That was 100% handmade by me. Campbell, did you notice that it changes color as the time changes on the clock? Now I got all distracted. Yeah, duelist doesn't work well for dungeons because of the AoE. That's 100% true. Oh yeah, it does. If you see, Alan has a white clock that's pointing towards 1 o'clock. Then you'll notice that because you've been a member for a while, you're already down to like 4 o'clock. Coffee pods considered low quality beans? Not necessarily. And this is going to sound like an advertisement, but while I was in Japan, I actually got to try one of those Nescafe machines, and those are shockingly good. Like the pods themselves are much higher quality than like the K cups. They're made out of metal, and they actually act somewhat like a portafilter does in a way. But for example, at my last company that I worked at, they used K-cups for it, and the machine itself used quite low temperature water, so it didn't really matter what quality the beans were, because it would come out really, really acidic due to the really low temperature water. And by low, I don't mean cold, just not quite hot enough. And it wasn't very tasty. So at my old company, I basically only did like the flavored pods that had vanilla in it, because it kind of cut the acidity when it added the artificial vanilla flavor. But I think it's was it Nescafe? No, it's I don't know. They had those really fancy pods that are made out of metal, and they were theoretically recyclable. I hope the hotel was properly recycling them, but those actually did the pressure really well, and the machine did have really good hot water, so it turned out quite nice. So I think basically you get what you pay for, and the K-cup ones tend to be a litto bit on the cheaper side. But a lot of it has to do with the machine and the pressure capabilities, not so much the beans. The beans, they're usually going to be pretty reasonable quality anyway, right? Aside from the fact that it's ground so far ahead of time. Obviously, if you can grind your beans fresh in the morning, it's better. Like, if I spend... Is it Nescafe? I'm trying to remember if it's Nescafe. If that's actually the brand it was. Machine. Yeah, it's got the round metal pods. Those ones that I had them for the first time in Japan, and they were actually really good considering. But price-wise, I think that in the long term, you'd spend way more on those than you would if you were just be ordering beans and using a hand grinder and a reasonable espresso machine. But K-cups, not a fan. So there you go, midday's review. See, that's the other thing though, is when if it's too easy to make coffee, who's to stop me from making coffee every 5 minutes? That's one of the reasons why I did not replace my French press, and I don't have like a drip coffee or a pour over. If it's too easy, it's gonna be a problem. I mean, frankly, do I already have a problem? Probably. Although, you know, when you Google Nescafe, the first thing that comes up is the instant coffee. Doesn't seem to stop me. Well, you know, like I said, if every time I have to make a shot of espresso, it involves a 15-minute process, it does certainly make it inconvenient to the point that I have to really want a coffee. That's a good latte, though. Gosh, I got distracted. I was going to say about the latte. Plinko sent me a video that's like, the best latte ever. And I'm like, yeah, right. And then I look at it and it's like, oh, well, you actually have to make this special vanilla syrup. And then also, okay, we're going to switch to keyboard for this boss. He clearly does not like my lack of skill with the controller. But yeah, it was like, buy this special milk and make this special vanilla syrup. And it's like, I'm not going to do that. And then I was thinking about it as I'm going to bed and I'm like, I kind of want to do that. It's the only video you sent me that I'm going to talk about. Big, heavy sigh. But yeah, so like, lactose-free whole milk was one of the ingredients. When has Aura Kingdom supported controller? It's supported controller since I told it, listen to my controller, you goof. Now before, at this point, I would have pulled up the driver that I use for my controller, but actually I just got the Steam controller. So now I've got a touchpad and I can use the mouse. I'm sorry, that was probably really disorienting. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so Steam controller is replacing my old PlayStation 3 wired controller that I was using before. There's actually a video where I show you how I did it before with my old controller. But my old controller was starting to die. And I did have a $100 credit on Steam from the contest that I won, thanks to my beautiful community. So, really, you guys bought me at least half, or a little over half of the Steam controller, which is amazing. And I am very much enjoying it. But I don't quite have the muscle memory of how to do the rotations properly, because I did just like completely revamp the whole setup here. Steam controller Aura Kingdom guide. I don't know how valuable that would be. Because not only is Aura Kingdom not on Steam anymore, so I have to launch Aura Kingdom through Steam, but it is so hard to get your hands on one of these controllers. I feel like the number of people that play both Aura Kingdom, want to use a controller, and have a Steam controller are probably me. There's at least one other. That uses a Steam controller? I don't think so. But yeah, I just don't have the muscle memory for where the skills are yet, because I did have to shuffle things around. And it is a different shape than my old controller. So I'm still getting used to it, which means that when the bosses get bossy, I gotta switch. Yeah, okay, it's a skill issue. What can I say? Actually, I keep forgetting to activate that. Should it, Nope. This is what I was worried was the stun lock. Okay, well that did a pretty good solid chunk. See, the way that duelist works, and I stand by this, is that it's got the highest potential for single hit. And I know certain people like Plinko get antsy about the fact that it's not a single hit if it counts as like multiple hits. When's the next horror stream? I'm gonna get distracted by talking about duelist a little more before I address the horror. Dancing Balisong does so much damage that if any class was going to one-shot bosses, I still think it counts as a single hit because it's a single skill. And it all occurs at the same second, whereas something like the Whipmaster's big hit that does multiple hits, it continues to apply for multiple seconds. And be Guardian now. What is it? I don't know. I feel like Guardian may not have the same kind of potential as Duelist. Anyway, what Eidolon am I using? I'm using Gaia poorly, so I have not reshuffled her stars, which are going to be hiding behind my chat thing up there, so just hold on a second. Just pull this over a bit. Yeah, no, you can't see it at all. I haven't reshuffled her stars, so she's on double attack and holy skill attribute. This is not necessarily the best way to play Duelist. In fact, I believe the best way to play Duelist right now would... No, please let me move you. Would probably be to focus on physical, but the good physical Eidolon is... The good physical Eidolon is, what's her face? New Year's Queen of Hearts, and I'm still working on 4-starring her. So I'm probably playing Duelist wrong by focusing explicitly on only Dancing Balisong when I'm doing a bad job of it. But yes, New Year's Queen of Hearts. And so if we come into my Eidolon here, and scroll all the way down while you auto-attack that mob. She's only 2-star. I am so close to getting her to 3-star. Otohime is good for basically any class, but you gotta trigger her manually, and when I'm playing with a controller, it's really hard to come down and manually trigger these because I can't bind them to a key. But you would have to manually trigger Otohime's skill at opportune moments, and just when you're using a controller, I can't do that. Ideally, you'd trigger Otohime, then switch over to like New Year's Queen of Hearts, and use her for the actual combat while you've got that 10-second buff active, but that's a pain, and I cannot manage that with a controller. Have we been asking for the ability to use Eidolon skills on hotkeys? I mean, I personally haven't been specifically requesting it of anybody. If somebody has been, that's news to me, but yeah, I wish it was a thing. Skill issue strikes again. I'm sorry! I'm just having fun. I'm sorry, that probably wasn't very convincing. There's a person that has been asking. I'm sure there is, but I just haven't actually seen it, and so it didn't really, like... didn't click in my head. Where's my coffee? Actually, you know what? Let's add another coffee. Since I figured out what was causing me to have an issue with the VTube Studio the other day. There. More coffee. There I was saying I'd be happy if I made it to 50%, and we're not gonna hit, we are not gonna even get to 40% today, probably. I wish there was stun immunity, like even just 5 seconds. I wouldn't ask for 30 seconds like the mobs get, or the bosses get, I should say. Just like 5 seconds stun immunity after you recover from a stun, because getting stun locked is the worst. Right? Like if these guys can just keep stunning me, then I'm toast. Yeah, there's just something comfy about running dungeons. I mean, I like it a little bit more when I've got AoE and I can just gather up all the mobs and not have to worry about getting stunned, but still, it's kind of nice. And by that I mean, it's very nice. Alright, but for this boss, no controller. And you can tell when I'm switched back to the mouse because it moves faster. And clearly they thought Aura Kingdom had more potential as well, because like all of their other games, they did do the remake for Aura Kingdom in Impact, and they brought up a whole lot of good ideas, and then they flubbed it by making everything else about the game way more suffering. Look at that. Easy nuke. No. So they did a mobile version of it, which was kind of like a watered down version. And then they made another completely different game using just similar IP and aspects. And then they made Aura Kingdom Impact. So Impact is not a mobile game. It was actually a fully fledged new version of Aura Kingdom. And if you feel so inclined, you can kind of scrub through the live streams that I did when it first came out last year. I guess it really was about a year ago now, because it was early July that it came out. But one of the issues that I had with the way that they went about the Aura Kingdom remake was they implemented some really good ideas. Like, they implemented stuff like, here, really basic example. Not only were you able to change your main class so that you didn't have to level up a bajillion characters like I do. I mean, I kind of enjoy the grinding dungeons, so that's not so much of an issue, but they also made it so that your gear could be stored in a special gear archive, which made it easier to transfer it between characters. They also made it so for your holy chest, you could have tabs, so you could make a holy chest for different elements, like, because you can get bonuses to different elements through here. So you could make one for each element and then just switch between them rather than having to move items in and out, which some people apparently do. I can't imagine fortifying that many weapons. Not a fan. They really, really revamped some things, and one of the really cool ideas that they came up with was you could infuse your Eidolons onto skills. And when you did that, like, especially if you got a 4-star Eidolon, it like what they did was they had, like, for example, and it was so broken they ended up having to do something about it and change it. But if you infused a 4-star tier on one of the on one of your skills, that skill would then have its normal effect plus the effective tier skill, and it actually added on a little bouncing lightning, so you could make any skill into a bouncing lightning skill. And, like, it changed the element of the skill. Like, that is massive. That has so much potential for customizing classes. Then they made it so absurd to grind. They made it so that gold basically couldn't be used as to exchange because you had to spend way too much gold fortifying your gear. Like, gold became a currency that you could not spend on buying things because you had to use it for fortifying your gear. And if you were free to play, even if you were grinding the whole way, like, I was grinding everything I possibly could because they limited the amount you could run any individual dungeon per day to 2. Like, you literally could not do more than 2 runs of a dungeon per day. That was it. You were done. I did every dungeon I could, every single day, and I had the gear that I could. It's absurd. Like, I could not keep up. When I fought in parties, like when I ran in parties, I was doing nothing. And because what they did was they reduced the amount of debuffs all your skills had to try and encourage you to actually run in parties, because all your skills were weaker and your debuffs were weaker. But then they also scaled up the bosses, and they made it so you had to beat them before they went berserk mode, because then they had significantly higher damage, they had significantly higher offensive speed and whatnot. Like, they basically, if you didn't beat the boss within 3 minutes or whatever, they would nuke you. So you're doing less damage, you're debuffing less, and you need to beat the bosses on a timer. Not a big fan of that. So when I was going into dungeons, not only was I useless in terms of debuffing the enemies, I was not doing more than like 1%, 2% of the damage with like endgame free-to-play gear, because there was no way to access the things that would actually bring you to the next level. So they made some good choices in like revamping the way that the archive system works to make it so that theoretically the Eidolon archive couldn't become as broken as it has in this version of the game, but it didn't pan out. It was an absolute grind fest, and I couldn't keep up, so I actually made a video about it when I quit. They had such good ideas, and it was all just brought down by the fact that the game is not a comfortable play. Like, if I was doing this in Aura Kingdom Impact, I would have been done, what, within 20 minutes if it was 5 minutes per dungeon run, because I could have only done 2 of each dungeon. Alright, well, I can't lie and tell you that Aura Kingdom is free to play completely. I haven't spent any money on it for a very long time, but I've also been playing since the game's open beta started. So obviously my account is in a different position than anybody starting now. That being said, I've never felt tempted to spend money. The only times I did, it was like, well, I've been playing this a long time. There's an item I'd like to get. So I ended up, actually that was back in the area days when they had the tiered spender. So basically there was an item on the tiered spender I wanted, so I spent enough for that item and got it, and that was that. But like, I don't feel pressure to spend when I play Aura Kingdom. All I feel is I am having a good time running dungeons and killing things while looking very cool. So that's one of the reasons why I just keep coming back, is I just like it. If you had asked if there's a specific goal that I want to achieve when I'm playing Aura Kingdom, I just want to chill. The style, like all the costumes and whatnot, there's, I kind of feel bad for newer players in that it's really hard to try to get your hands on a lot of the individual like costume items that are floating around out there. But I think they've been doing a really good job of updating like the LP store so that even as free to play, you still have access to like a huge selection of unique items to make yourself look cool in the way that you want to. But yeah, I just like the vibe. I like the gameplay, and I'm having fun. I don't really have a specific goal besides I just want to level up characters. Number go up, very fun, happy smile. And it'd be nice if I got something out of these bond dungeons that we run every single day and yet rarely get any drops. It'd be nice if I could get something once in a while. But, you know. I guess technically my main goal right now is I'm trying to get a fusion manual. So I've got a holy manual, and I've got a dark manual, and now I just need to get my hands on a fusion formula. So I haven't checked the price of those recently, actually. I don't have any store cards, do I? Oh, I do. Hold on. 58k. I'm pretty sure I've only got about 20,000 right now, though. 25,000. So I'm about halfway there. If I were doing dungeon grinding a little bit more seriously, rather than just like bond dungeons, maybe if we pop out of there. A duelist probably would be better off with a physical manual. Those ones are a little bit more expensive than any of the individual element manuals because they're a little bit harder to get your hands on. That being said, I don't have a physical manual. I've only got a holy. Duelist probably should be played physical, but again, I'm playing holy. Oh, did I accidentally pull my manual off there? Yeah, I did. For Balisong, the fusion manual is the Holy Dark Fusion manual is still probably better if you were gonna get one of the big fancy ones. But I also play Dark Element on a lot of my other classes. Like, I think that's my main element across it. Oh, I forgot to grab the quest after all that. Oh well. But yeah, the Dark Element is my main one across everything, and the issue with the Dark Element is that it's actually also PvP, whereas all the other ones are PvE. So I'd ideally like to get the fusion one so that I can get the dark benefit alongside the holy benefit for, like, I'm a main warbow, right? Like, my main class is warbow, which is both dark and holy, so it would be nice to have. But the fusion formulas are quite expensive. Frankly, doing these dungeons is probably not even worth it. In fact, I bet you it'd be more worth it to do solo of the upper level one. Oh yeah, Dimensional Hall for experience for sure, and in fact, because the person that I normally run Dimensional Hall with, they capped the other day, they probably don't even want to run Dimensional Hall with me anymore. So, I know you can run it alone. So what I'm thinking is I'll just kind of run dungeons until my cards are done, and then we'll do some nice comfy daily quests for a bit. I'll pop my, whatchamacallit, the super rare experience card thingy, the proof of mission, that's the one. Do some daily quests, finish it off with the Dimensional Hall. We'll probably hit like a solid 38%, I want to say, because usually the daily quests and Dimensional Hall would be 5%. But I may as well run dungeons at least until the experience cards are done. And once actually at the 4 o'clock reset, actually how long do I have on here? 25 minutes, so I've got about 5 minutes left. So at the 4 o'clock reset, I'll head back to the best dungeon, which is the first one that I ran. It's got so many mobs in it. The experience there is kind of crazy compared to, like, other dungeons. So I'll run that one again after the reset. And I'll actually just do it with keyboard from the start, because I really want to finish and get as many mobs as possible while the cards are still active. And after that, I'll start doing daily quests. And that'll probably be about the amount of time I had set for the stream for today. Because, like I said, I do need to do some cooking and whatnot. Gotta use all those beans. Not coffee beans. Food beans. I got a 6-pack of beans. It's 6 different kinds of beans. I was gonna make a soup. Do I have a favorite Eidolon? I suppose that means you didn't notice next to me on my desk I've got statues of Tyr. Hold on, where's Tyr? He's probably on a character, so I bet you I can't even show him properly. Oh, I've got basic Tyr in my inventory, or in my warehouse here still. Lightning. Did you notice that that little guy on my desk is actually this little guy? I just think he's neat. You know, I liked him before he spawned in dungeons, and I still like him after. That being said, unfortunately, regular tier, though we did originally see him as a possible good option for actually physical, because he's got really nice debuffs after you upgrade them, but the flat defensive debuffs are a little bit harder to make use of because of how much inflation there is on stats nowadays. So it's hard to recommend tier-based, like normal tier for really anything. Santa tier is still good for lightning classes as a relatively easily accessible but still quite good one, because you can get his fragments in game inside the Vault of Eternity if you're grinding it out daily. There's a pretty good chance you'd be able to get him. Plus, they're quite generous with his fragments around Christmas time. But yeah, regular tier, not really highly recommendable for anything except for the fact that I think he looks really neat. They need to release the tuxedo version as an actual costume. They should make it as 3-star. I know they don't do 3 stars very often, and even rarer for like dude eidolons, but like they should release tier as a 3-star with the tuxedo. Just cuz. Sadie, now I believe they have just added her to the LP store, didn't they? Yeah, Sadie. Sadie is now available in the LP store, so if you were feeling like playing and coming back, she's I wouldn't say extremely easy because 50,000 LP is still quite a bit, but as you can see, it's not so absurd because I frequently sit over. Wait, what do you mean 3 more keys till you can 4-star tier? Doesn't that mean you have 0? That's literally all you need for tier. Or do you mean an impact? Because in impact you need like 10 keys or something, don't you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, you need 10 keys in impact for 4-star tier, right? Oh shoot, this lady. Yeah, she does stunning. So we're gonna use keys again here. Base tier does not have a costume. In regular Aura Kingdom, you need 1 key for to get them. The second key will 2-star them. The third key will 3-star them, and that's when you need the bead. And then you need just the ring. So 3 keys total for regular Aura Kingdom, but Impact you need 10 keys because each star level requires 1 more key than the last. So 1 star is 1 key. To 2-star them, you need 2 keys. Oh, fragments. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit different. I mean, if it's regular tier, then you can farm him in dungeons. There. Actually, he's in the LP store. He's in the LP store as well, isn't he? Yeah, he's not quite so expensive either. He's only a 3,999 LP. Now, I don't run Vault of Eternity that often, but if you run it consistently with a couple characters a couple times a week, or even 1 character a couple times a week, you should be able to get a pretty solid amount of LP, right? I get most of my LP from doing Bond dungeons. I would get more from Gaia if I remembered to run it too. Excuse me. Anyway, I feel like I don't like that boss. Yes, goats are a good source of LP if you are below awakening and around when they're happening. Personally, I don't like going to goats, just because it doesn't work out time-wise a lot of the time. And then the other issue is if you're gonna go to goats, they're actually extremely weak right now, so it's very easy to one-shot them. You're gonna want to make sure that you take off all your gear when you do it. Anyway, I suspect that this is actually going to be better for experience than, like, the solo mode is going to be better for experience than running those other lower level dungeons. So, I'm just going to kind of pop through here. But for Tyr, you may as well run dungeons for him, right? He's worth it. Come on, mobs. Mobs. Come on. It's a different level than it used to be. Right now, it's to the point that you could blink and miss it because of how weak they are. Or rather, I should say, because people's stats are so inflated. Basically, we got buffed goats. And then I think X-Legend ran an event where they had ultra buffed goats. And they forgot to re-implement the stronger variant. They only re-implemented a weaker variant. So, yeah. They're quite fragile, them goats. On the plus side, it does mean that you're not going to have to worry about trying to avoid dying if you're a little bit on the weaker side. But yeah, pre-awakening, goats are the way to go for LP. And I believe the timers are still at it. So they've got their spreadsheet with the times, provided it's up to date. I think sometimes they don't update it right away. But if you ask in World Chat, usually people know. You know, it's funny that I was trying to convince you to farm tier in dungeons when I specifically ran into an issue during the last stream trying to hunt for Eidolons in dungeons. In that I could not get them to spawn. Yeah, it's... Relatedly, if you're watching the experience, this dungeon is doing significantly more despite being a solo mode. Alan, unfortunately, no, Aura Kingdom is not on Steam. If you played on the area version, your account is definitely gone. So I'll tell you the story of what's happened since you've been gone. Basically, Area got bought out by GameEco, and they also did an account cleanup at that time, but then GameEco transferred the publishing rights back to the original developer X-Legend, and X-Legend was running all 4 of the language servers that Area had, or Area/GameEco had, and they decided that they were going to merge all 4 of the language versions into one. And at that time, anyone who had not migrated their account was their account was deleted. So if you have not played since the Area time, you're unfortunately not going to be able to recover your characters. Now that being said, because they did clean up so many inactive and old accounts, there are great names available that you might not expect. So you might be able to get back your old name if you feel strongly about it. The other thing is that they've got, I don't know whether or not it was, I don't know whether or not you would have had it when you were playing before, but they've got an item that you pick up right at the start of the game that you can open up every 10 levels for goodies, and that'll get you kind of moseying along real good. Oh, Yoroha, I'm sorry I'm the bearer of bad news, but yeah, at the time of the merge of the 4 language servers into one, they did make it so that if you had not completed the transfer, you would not be able to recover your account, so... Lancer on a new account. I guess they got a rework. I don't know what... Gosh, did I play... I think I did do Lancer on my Scrub account after the, after it was reworked, right? I don't remember how that went, so it must not have been too suffering. Okay, so they did a rework for Lancer and Warbow. Well, Lancer's rework was a little bit smaller, but... No, I don't think I did do the Lancer on my brand new account. So I don't know how that would fare, but... A Lancer plays as Dark. So if you're looking for Dark Eidolons... Actually, who is a good early game Dark Eidolon? I guess some people play Lancer as Lightning too. You know what? You're exactly like me, but I choose Warbow anytime I can. Oh gosh, it was actually when I was playing Eternal Sonata that I fell in love with the Warbow character there, and from then on, anytime I see Warbow as an option where I can choose a class, that's the one that I go. Well, not necessarily Warbow, but just ranged bow type characters, and I'm actually just in general partial to ranged characters, so... duelist is not my typical vibe. But... You know, that's just reminded me since I brought up Eternal Sonata. A certain somebody asked a little while back about the next horror stream, and I've been kind of trying to avoid mentioning it because I'm not good at horror. Gosh, I don't know if you're still here, Campbell. It might have left already, but I think it was Campbell that mentioned it. I would encourage you to check out what Fragile Farewell to the Ruins of the Moon is, because that is the game I was intending to play for my birthday, coming up in late July, so that might scratch the itch in terms of horror games. Maybe? A little bit. I do have to make sure that the hardware all works, though, because it's been quite a while since I've booted up the old Switch. Or, sorry, the old Wii. It's even older than the Switch. Right, you play a game, you fall in love with a weapon type, and your brain is just like, that's the weapon now. Recently I've seen shorts from that bow guy, Blumenek, and holy moly, that guy is amazing, and I am so happy to have found him through being interested in bow in terms of games. If you've never seen anything by Blumenek, search him up. That guy's insane. In the best way possible. But yeah, for me it was Viola in Eternal Sonata. Get ready to be surprised. That guy is a real shock the first time you see him. I think I'm gonna be finished a bit too soon. That is correct, Yuruha. The X-Legend made both versions, so just watch what website you're on. I'll pop the right website in the chat in a second here. Hold on a moment. Let me just hit a couple mobs and not... Actually, this is solo mode. I'm sure I'm fine. Do. Oh, no, not pasting twice. There, that's the link for the version that I'm playing right now. Enjoy your lunch, Alan! And thanks for stopping by! And becoming a bean! Oh gosh, I still feel a bit bad about calling it the beans. Hold on, how did I get rid of that? Oh, there you go. Sorry, I saw a blue button on my, like a blue notification on the chat window there, and it was just bothering me, but apparently I can't get rid of it. Very fun. I hope you enjoy it. I know that it's definitely a dated MMO in terms of many of its systems, which is why it's so disappointing that Impact didn't really pan out. Because if it had actually modernized the things that needed modernizing, it would have been a lot of fun. But I think it's still got a lot of charm. I still like the way that the combat feels to play. And I also think that because it doesn't have any of like the super modern, like, I don't do gacha on stream, but the gambling table is like the least triggering of those of the happy chemicals I've ever seen. It is just the most bland, boring gambling table. So it's certainly got some things from the old era that are beneficial in terms of like not being as predatory. But, you know, it shows its age. The good thing, though, is that they've really adjusted a whole lot of the early game grind. So if you just want to get through some maps and get to a nice high level, you will be able to do that very quickly. If you take a look through my live streams, you'll see that I've managed to sit down and do level 1 to 100 in like just one sitting. I mean, 11 hours, but in one sitting. It's doable. It is doable, but probably not for a new player. It's just you can make very quick progress in the early game if you're just sitting down and having fun. Now that said, if you haven't played in a really long time, I do want to recommend that you give Stellar Saphir a try as the class, because I think that's a really good one to play as a new player. It's a lot of fun. It's got huge AoE. A week for level 60. When I first started playing, level 60 was like end game, like cap level, right? Like when I think level 50 was actually the initial cap, and it would take forever to even just grind to the point that you could do the Kaktakara dungeon. Like you'd have to spend a couple days grinding in Alabastron. But yeah, no, it's very different from what it used to be. I mean, the cap is level 140 now. So, yeah, significantly different than it used to be, but at the same time, there's just something charming about the early game grind, and I've done it probably like 25 times now, getting to Awakening. So, take it from me, the progress is very smooth. And of course, as long as you're not investing like money or anything that you'll feel bad about losing, just walk in, have some fun, and then if it turns out that the nostalgia is not a good hit, then you can just walk away again. No harm, no foul. But I think it's worth trying again, especially if you played it in the past. I know it's not for everybody though, because like I said, it's definitely got creaks of age on it. Okay, so reset and about 5 minutes left on the cards. I think I'm going to switch over to keyboard here because I kind of want to lock in and get as much as possible out of the last of these cards. If I am lucky, we'll be able to get at least to 36% from running the actually might be more efficient to run party mode again. It's solo mode, so we can grab as many mobs as we like. And Balisong does have a little AoE. Yeah. Is that a level S35 weapon? Yes. Oh, guitar. No, you don't. You'll be at level 60 within... Oh gosh. Probably by the end of, like, the, level 40 maps, if I'm being honest. I think you'll already be level 60 by then because they've changed the curve so much. Time-wise, it's actually probably more efficient to get experience in the solo modes because of how much longer it'll take me on the bosses. This entire time I've just been chill running, and now that there's 3 minutes left on my cards, I'm worried about the efficiency for my experience. This is literally how I play. Very logical, very methodical, very thorough, very well thought out. Yep, yep, yep. But if we play our cards right, we probably can get to 35% or 36% here. And then 40% is actually, like, reasonable today. But it does seem that I'll need to put in a little bit more effort to try and get my controller memory muscles, or muscle memory going. Time this carefully because we don't want to be sitting around waiting for mobs while the cards expire, but we do want as many mobs as possible. Times like this I wish I had Roar. Just something to grab a whole bunch of them. Actually, if you were to do something like Sub-Grenadier with the Mastery 4... AoE? Oh, thank you! Oh gosh, I can't wait for you to see it. It's gonna be so good. So stop by on July 25th if you want to see the new model. Now, I don't really want to put this in, like, writing somewhere, but the person that I've hired for the rigging said there's a non-zero chance the rigging might be finished in time for my birthday. I did not pay a rush fee though, so that is very much it's entirely up in the air whether or not that'll happen. I'm not going to put that in writing anywhere, but there's a non-zero chance the rigging might actually be finished. Pretty low, but non-zero. Imagine if they finish it the morning of, and I'm sitting there like, how do I use this? That would actually be kind of funny. Hey, look at that. We actually handily cleared 36% there. These dungeons just have... sorry, this specific dungeon has so many mobs. I really should have focused on doing this dungeon. Even in solo mode. Give the boss a little tap with their last couple seconds. And there we are. 36 point... I actually... my game is bugged and I can't see my experience on my screen, so I need to make OBS a little larger so I can see. 36.329. Very nice. Now, is today... Oh gosh, I gotta clean my inventory too. I was gonna say, is today the day where we get the good daily quests or the bad daily quests? Now, I do kind of need some fragments, so maybe we'll disassemble those. And we'll sell the boxes. I know you technically get slightly more gold if you open the boxes. So actually, yeah, I am gonna open them. Maybe we'll just sell that one. Toss these. Okay, one of the other things, really small thing that Aura Kingdom Impact did, is when you hold Alt to mass open these boxes, it would put the full stack by default, so you could actually mass open boxes faster. Another small thing that Aura Kingdom Impact did that was nice. I don't know what dev came up with that, but I see you and I appreciate you, and I want you to know that we do care. But maybe I'll just stick it on Tilda. And stick you over here, that way we don't accidentally sell that one. The S35 weapons aren't worth a lot, but some people do buy them because they're using them for, like, holy chest fodder. So I'll stick it nice and cheap inside the auction house, and somebody will have a nice day because of it, I'm sure. And then I should probably check actually how much experience I had at the start of the run, that way I know what I got from those 2 hours. Be the last one. I should have checked how much gold I started with too. Just so that I know. See if we made at least 200G from that run. Because generally I think about 100G an hour from running dungeons, but it might be a little better or worse depending which dungeons you're running. And I was going pretty slow, so it's also possible that I just literally didn't run enough dungeons to actually make profit. So hold on a second, I'm just gonna go open up my own stream in another tab. Go to my channel. Hey look, I'm live! Turn off the volume. Okay, so I started at 28.01%. Actually, I did almost 10% in dungeons there. And I had... How much gold is that? Oh, it's too small on that screen. I've got my vertical screen now, so it's hard to see sometimes. Things don't go large enough on the vertical screen. Put it over here. Okay, I had 746. So actually, I did get more than 200. Wait, no, I didn't. I'm 46 gold short of 200 gold. Sad. It's fine. It's fine. Anyway. Daily quests. So are we the good day or the bad? Oh, I think it's the bad day. Oh well. Alright, so... Oh, where's my pumpkin? That's not what it's called, is it? I forget what my pumpkin is called. Special? US version contract summon. Okay, where is my US version contract summon? Midnight. Alright. Sorry, we're gonna make a little detour to get my experience buff pumpkin. Ah. I probably should have been using that this entire time. Midnight? Midnight. I just really like this song, sorry, I had a moment there. In fact, I actually particularly like that specific part of that song. Okay, I don't really need to go to the bank, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick them in the archive. Oh, I just realized that when I nudged my desk up so you could see the experience count, I didn't nudge up the music player, so it's a little more covered than normal. Oh well. Here we are. Alright, so generally for daily quests, I try to stick to going just down to the dimensional hall. So we'll see how much experience we've got by the time I get to the dimensional hall. And I think that's going to be where I need to pause for the day and call it, because like I said, I gotta make soup. And for daily quests, the controller is not very efficient, because getting around to each of these specific points and killing the mobs is just a little bit better to do with the mouse. So I'm gonna set the controller aside for the time being and try and lock in on doing this quickly. I don't really lock in very good though. Especially since I don't really have glide bound properly on my controller. I gotta figure out a way to do that. So glide is 2 buttons. Shift R. And it just doesn't feel very comfortable to have a button for Shift and R, but on the contrary, I do have control on a button. So there might be a way to I mean, I've got more buttons. I don't know. The thing about trying to build a controller, like a setup where trying to decide where to bind each button, is that I feel like the more I tinker with it, the harder it is to get used to it. So I kind of find myself, I build it and then I find myself attempting to get the muscle memory from what I've got there and then just never add anything else to it. Because I'm old, it takes me too long to get used to it. Hello, Miyamoto. Oh. Did I get a pumpkin? Yes, I did. Actually, now that I think about it, I didn't even check to see how much experience I had while we were running. 200 plus 100 plus, so 100, 150, 170, 190, and then I think it's only like 10% on the other Navia item that I was using, so I wasn't even capped on experience gain. It's all good. Because Feast is the 100% buff, right? And I was not using a Feast for just goofing around today. If I've learned anything, it's that when I do plan to use the Feast, we're going to have to set the controller aside, we're going to have to lock in, and we're going to have to do this properly. Now, it's this guy, I think? It's actually been a while since I've properly been doing the grinding of the daily quests. I've kind of just been taking it easy. Oh, that's the dungeon. I mean, we can run the dungeon one more time. But where's the other daily quest? Oh, right. Just do a quick run through the regular party mode. Nah, we better do hell. then there's a chance to get the fragments from the Eidolon, because the Eidolons on these dungeons are still actually at 100% spawn rate. Of course, Scrub doesn't have access to them, so I couldn't have used that to cheat my way through the challenge last time. Actually, Scrub is getting really close to accessing these maps. I don't think she's anywhere near what she needs to be able to do, like what she needs for fighting in these dungeons, but I think she's 28 or something. S28? Maybe I should work on her next instead of one of my other characters on this account. Don't like how when they hit you, it knocks you back down to the ground. Just trying to glide by. Man, I should have been doing this before. My friend hit cap level. I'm pretty sure it was last night they hit cap level, and now I'm like, what, 170% behind them? I'm slacking. Although I always slack. I always take it easy. Right up until I'd say 40% to go, I generally take it pretty easy. But once the number starts getting close, there's that part of my brain that says, let's just go, let's just do it. Although, technically the most efficient way to do it would be to pop all the experience items and then only log into this character when I can do an extremely fast full run of only the best dungeon. I know you can't do it all in one sitting at that point then, but as long as all the items don't, like as long as you use items that's duration doesn't count down while you're offline, just running when you can do all of the best dungeons and then immediately logging off, it's probably the best way to go about it. But I don't know about whether or not I really want to lock this character to just running dungeons for like a couple weeks here. Maybe I'll have a chat with my my pal and see whether or not they'd be willing to let this cutie out of the rotation. Yeah, we're gonna do hell mode because we want to see this Eidolon spawn. See how much easier it is if I just fight with my regular keyboard. Still got all my food on, right? Yeah. Oh, you know what? I remember why I took this one off of my main skills. It was because I get disoriented every time it flips around. Right, because when I was using my old controller, I didn't have a really good way to control the camera. The new controller, it's pretty good for the camera control, but because I didn't like having to move the camera every time I got disoriented when it flipped around, and I didn't like using it all that frequently, that's why I stuck it over here on Control 3. Okay, we're gonna quickly stack up Ballad here. And make sure we get up to 6 stacks. Whoop. I think I'm not gonna be able to keep Ballad up. Oh, there we go. And stunned. And that didn't crit properly. I'm not entirely sure why that didn't hit very hard. That's 3 stacks. 4 stacks. 5 stacks. 6 stacks. And again, didn't hit hard enough. I feel like I'm missing more than I was expecting for having 85% accuracy. Unless that was them missing me because I've still got 79% evasion. Did I not have the snowflower stacks on that guy? I think I didn't. I think I was spending too much time trying to avoid getting stunned and I didn't even stack my snowflower. Oh, it does still have max crit damage, 75%, but it's not listed anymore. Is it because it's on mastery? Might be. Oh, I don't really have time to read it right now. Okay, 6 stacks already built. Make sure we've got all of our detail damage from Ballad. Make sure we've got Snowflower stacked. I think we'll also throw Purple Lightning on. I don't remember everything it does offhand. That should be 2 stacks. And still didn't hit very hard. Target is too far. Was it actually not hitting? I kept seeing target is too far in there. I feel like bringing these mobs to the final boss is going to be a challenge with all the stuns, so we'll probably just... I feel like I can gather them up, though. I might regret it, but I still have feathers. We're fine. That's the other thing about Swift Somersault, is I thought it defaults to going in the direction you're going, but it does not. So you can't... I don't know how to control the direction that you somersault in. But when I actually remember to use it, things definitely go a little bit better with these guys, eh? It's just, I'm worried that I would somersault right into one of those traps at the boss if I can't control the direction very well. Yes, this is Genshin Impact. You can kind of see behind me here. I didn't properly put it in the right location because I was moving things around. But I've got the album artwork from the music that we're listening to. Right now I've got a selection from Genshin Impact and some other games on shuffle. But yeah, I do really like the Genshin Impact music, so it definitely takes a very prominent position on the playlist. Ooh, I just jumped right into one of those traps. Come on. Nope. I knew that was going to happen, though. Those traps be like that. Well, thank you. I've specifically gone through and selected tracks, because funny enough, somebody has been claiming some of the Genshin music, even though they're not supposed to be able to. Can you, like, stop standing around the traps? Please. I think I just got him closer to a trap. Yeah. I know I'm the one that decided I wanted to fight the Hell Mode version, despite the fact that this was supposed to be the we're going fast and just doing quests now, but... Look, there's a chance to look at an Irene fragment. Plus, we'll make up that little deficit of my my gold that I didn't get from the first running dungeons. Okay. Now for Irene, we're just gonna reduce the shield. We're at 6 stacks. We're gonna make sure our ballad's fully stacked. We're gonna make sure that the snow flower is fully stacked. Then we're gonna activate Purple Lightning and hit him with the Dancing Battle Song. See, that's what I was wanting to see on the other bosses, was that nice big chunk vanishing. I haven't quite figured out the optimal rotation, though. Anyway, that's the quest's done. It would have been so much smarter if I had taken it while we were running the dungeon earlier, but whatever. Hindsight's 20/20. I did die, which means my pumpkin died. So let's respawn pumpkin. You know, I've always kind of wondered, if I were to do like a silent stream, where you just see me bobbing along in the corner to my music, and the objective was like no sound effects, just music and moving picture. Would that even really be like, would that even really count as a stream? I feel like that's probably like the worst kind of stream, though. I did it once before, actually, didn't I? Right. So right before Xenoblade X came out, I actually did a stream where the objective was just to find out whether or not Xenoblade X music would be claimed, because I kind of was worried that because a lot of it was vocal tracks that it would be claimed. And I think they were. Now, the other thing is I'm pretty sure that this map, oh, again, it's the worst day for daily quests. Yeah, it's fine. Now, if I remember correctly, the viewing on that particular stream was actually quite bad, but I think I had to make it, inaccessible after it finished. Oh, no! I did the stream, but I set it so that it was private and nobody could watch. That's what it was. Never mind. I don't think anybody could have seen that one then. I was just goofing around, running dungeons silently so that I could test whether or not, like, what would happen to the stream if it caught the music while I was playing. I think I'm gonna need more experience books. Yeah, like 50. Now this map is one that I find particularly annoying because they put the quests all over the map. So if you're trying to play with the controller, you can't just auto path from like the main zone area. You literally have to go and find them. Oh, you played Aura Kingdom 2! I didn't realize they didn't have that accessible anymore. I thought that it was still kicking out there. I guess not, huh? Or I think Aura Kingdom 2 was the one that was significantly different from the original PC game, right? It like had the fancier graphics? But yeah, I've been playing this one since the open beta in, gosh, I think that was 2014-ish. I've been playing so long I don't even remember what year I started playing. Alright. Into the dungeon. Now, for this one... The mobile game, so they they made 2 mobile games as far as I'm aware under the name Aura Kingdom. And the first one was the one that looked like really, really close to this version. And then I don't know whether or not they did different names in different regions, but the Aura Kingdom 2 that I remember was the one where it kind of looked like Unreal Engine. Like if you took Aura Kingdom and made it an Unreal Engine kind of thing. But I only played it for a really little bit because I couldn't quite get into that one. Alright, we're not too worried about experience from the mobs, but like these guys don't... Oh no, these lightning guys actually are kind of annoying. Hold on, we gotta kill them. Part of me wonders a little bit whether or not the fact that I love Tyr so much is one of the reasons why, because I talk about Tyr so much, that Tyr ended up being like really prevalent in the promotions for some of our No, I'm kidding. I really don't think I had anything to do with it. But just a little part of me wonders. Because when I played the first Aura Kingdom, I think the mobile game version, I think all of the Eidolons were really hard to get, but there was a promotion where you could get Tyr. And then in Aura Kingdom Impact, they accidentally made Tyr the most broken monster in the game for a while. And they tried to nerf him and only made him stronger. Oh boy. Okay, so I have talked about this before, but it was very, very hush-hush at the time. When I started Aura Kingdom Impact, relatively close, like I'm pretty sure it was first day, not long after I finished the stream, I actually found a really bad exploit that was basically infinite LP. And the very first thing I did before it clicked that it was actually an exploit and not intentional was like stock up on a bunch of LP and get my hands on Tyr from the LP store. And it was after I got Tyr that I was like, oh, I don't think this is intentional. Well, basically, what I found is that there was an NPC in Navia that sells orange Tyr weapons for 10 silver. And 10 silver is nothing. 10 silver is literally nothing. There's 0 things that you can do for 10 silver. Like, when I kill one of these mobs, I get 49 silver. That's how nothing 10 silver is. So, I found a bug where if you dismantled some of the items that guy sold, you had a chance to get 100 LP tokens. So, it was basically as close to an infinite LP glitch as you could get. And so here I am thinking, oh, they made it because you don't need normally in this game, what you'd get when you dismantle equipment would be fragments that you use to fortify equipment, but that didn't exist anymore inside Aura Kingdom Impact. So I thought, oh, they've just replaced fragments with a chance to get LP. Very cool. And then I dismantled like 40 of them and got Tyr, and I thought to myself, this doesn't feel right. So then I reported it. As it turned out, there was another player in the Discord by the name of Lind who looked into it to figure out how the bug worked. And what happened is the items did not have proper drop tables for dismantling because they didn't exist properly in this version of the game. So the drop tables for dismantling were glitched. And the item number apparently corresponded with a certain boss, and that boss happened to be the Dimensional Hall boss. So basically, the dismantle table for those weapons became the same as the drop table for the Dimensional Hall boss, which had a chance to drop 100 LP fragments. So, by a very obscure chain of events, I managed to get my hands on Tyr first day by accidentally having a bug, or taking advantage of a bug. I really don't think anybody else found that bug by the time I had reported it. And if you go back through the Discord, you'll even see that relatively quickly they shut down the store for Harvey. It was the Harvey store in Navia. So relatively quickly after I reported it, they shut down that store. So I really don't think that anybody else had figured it out, because if they had, they would have been sitting next to that store and just going for it. And I didn't see anybody doing that prior to me figuring it out. And I didn't share it with anybody, so... I'm pretty sure nobody else was doing something silly like buying too many weapons of the wrong variety by mistake. Am I ready for Snezhnaya? Oh boy, you better believe I am not ready for Snezhnaya. I like the cool dudes, so I accidentally spent everything I have on Lowen. So not only am I not going to be able to get Sandrone, so I'm not going to be able to do any Stellar Conduct next patch. There are so many cool dudes coming up. I'm not going to have enough primos. Now that said, because I've got my hands on Lowen, as long as they do like ice-based stuff in the Abyss for a bit, I'm all good. I got Lowen and his weapon, so I'm happy. It's not gonna be fun. It's gonna be quite suffering watching Sandrone come and go, because I don't know, I think she's pretty. And I know there's a bit of drama about her design, but I think she's pretty, and I'm a little bit sad that I'm not gonna be able to get her. I actually play 3 Genshin accounts. So right now, the plan is I've got one of my second accounts has oh gosh, it's got like Yai Miko and Ayaka, and basically it's got a bunch of ice characters and lightning characters. Doesn't have Sino though. I don't know if Sino's buffs were going to be that great, but it does have Yai, it does have Ayaka, it does have Shenhe, and also Escoffier. So I figure I'll try to get Sandrone on that account because it's got some lightning and ice stuff going on. And then my third account really needs Columbina, so I'm probably going to keep that one saving for Columbina's rerun. The Tsaritsa is gorgeous. Like, hands down gorgeous. Very beautiful. But there's also a lot of cool dudes coming, and I do not have $1 million to pull for everybody, so I'm just gonna have to sit back and watch them slip through my fingers one by one, unfortunately. I laugh, but inside I cry. Wait, then you got Noi, the evil red Flins. I don't know, there's a lot going on in that trailer. I'm gonna have to watch it a couple more times to really get a good picture of what's coming, of what all is coming. Well, this map isn't too bad. Now, right now I'm on call for work, and also the day after the patch is Canada Day, the stat holiday in Canada, so I'm not going to be working on Canada Day, which means I'm going to be able to stay up all night after the next patch. But I'm on call for work, so if I continue to be on call by the time that the Snezhnaya patch drops, I'll probably mark like 2 or 3 days off work and just lock in and play. Whether or not that becomes a stream or not, I'm not sure, because I feel like when I'm just trying to explore, it's not super entertaining. It's just me and the enjoying the joy. You know, that's the thing, Resident. I don't know for sure, because normally when the Genshin patch drops, I mean, you guys aren't super interested in Genshin anyway, right? So I don't know, do you guys want to watch Going to the Moon in Genshin? I think it looks really cool and I'm excited, but you know, You guys are more of Nora Kingdom crowd. I don't know if Genshin has even won one of the polls even once. Actually, speaking of the poll, though, I was really shocked when I saw that the banned option didn't win this time. Right? Like, oh, hold on, I've still got it open on my other tab here. Is banned option still not winning? Oh, it's tied now. But yeah, Genshin didn't win. Actually, Genshin was pretty close to winning the other time too, though. You know what? I'll think about it. Maybe I'll put up a poll on like Tuesday or something. Oh shoot! But it's really hard when I'm on call for work to know how my time's gonna work out, because I'd really like to get out another short about my new model by the 1st, which means, or I say before the end of the 1st, and that means that I'll basically, if I don't have any days off work other than today, like, because I am getting called to work quite a bit, that might mean that the only day I have for working on it is the 1st, in which case there's not really going to be any time for streaming. I don't know. We'll see. It was a long, rambly way of saying I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, this dungeon is a whole lot of nothing except the first set of mobs. So the first set of mobs have a reflect skill. And if you're playing a ranged class, it's relatively easy to avoid it because they can only use it when they're in melee range. But if you're playing a melee class, you're gonna die. Now, if I just build up all my butterfly stacks and just kind of nuke them on approach, that might work. At least for some of them. That's 6 butterfly stacks. Nope. And he survived. We're so close to the entrance, there's no use using a feather. These guys are kind of spread out, so hold on. If I don't stand near them, they can't use the skill, but I gotta bunch him up to be able to knock him out. There. Nope, he used it. And he used it. Those gold shields, you gotta watch out for them. Like I just didn't do. We're so close to the boss, I'll just use it. What is the cooldown? I should have checked the cooldown on that skill so I know what to expect, but yeah, no, the reflect mobs are just instant death. Your options are don't attack or use Persephone or some other immunity eidolon. But right now my Persephone, as far as I remember, she is otherwise occupied. Oh, I did not set that up properly. There. Whoop. Is it S25 here? Yeah, it's S25. I don't think... I don't know if bards use these. When casting Ballad gains the resonant state of increasing holy light skill damage by 5% and heal. I mean, there's a non-zero chance that somebody might want it, so I won't scrap that one. My bard's a little low level for it. Anyway, these guys I don't care about. I don't even think these guys have a stun or anything, do they? No, pulls the target towards you. That's annoying. dang, she doing a pretty darn good job tanking there. Thank you for your service, Gaia. And welcome back. I'm just kind of letting her do her own thing. If you were really trying to focus, you'd have to manually trigger the skills when they were the most useful. You'd probably always be one-swapping with Otohime, but I'm doing fine well enough without it. Sumeru, yes, this is from the desert. In fact, now that you mention it, when I said earlier that a lot of tracks were being claimed by other people, it was actually particularly the Sumeru tracks, and I think it's not necessarily because people are specifically scamming by saying that they own the Sumeru tracks. I think it's because they're a little bit quieter, so I tried to remove some of the really quiet desert tracks, but I really like the vibe of the soundtrack, so that's why I put it on. Okay, another stack of ice. And then, oh, that wasn't a whole lot of damage, so maybe I really do need... Oh, crit damage by 50%. Yeah, that's quite helpful. Reduces damage taken, move speed, crit, and crit damage. I mean, my crit is capped, right? Yeah. And now you're in Fontaine! Oh, yeah, I got turned around there. Right, so like when I'm using keyboard, if I get turned around, it's a lot faster to get back to going the right direction, but sometimes when I'm using a controller, I do not even notice that I've turned around until I've walked the wrong way for like a solid 10 seconds. You know, a lot of games, I will turn off the music and listen to something else. Not Genshin. Genshin, I listen to the music from the game because it's always such a joy to hear it, especially in context. It's quite nice. As you can see for Aura Kingdom, I do not make the same I do not make the same concession to the music. I'll say that there's some tracks from Aura Kingdom that are quite nice. I occasionally do use them when I'm making videos, but there is nothing in there that I consider to be like actually just fun, listenable music outside of the game or as a background music context. Whereas for Genshin, actually, because we had issues with the power when I was flying to Japan, I literally just sat there listening to the music and thinking about it for like solid 5 hours of one of my flights. Would you look at that? We are already almost at 40%. You know, when I said that I thought 45% today would be impossible, I meant it. But I know I gotta go make soup, but maybe I'll do a little bit more running this evening while I've got some of these buffs on and actually could possibly make it all the way up to 45% today. Oh, but I finished my coffee. Very sad. I might skip the dungeons from here on out. I might just do the quests, because I really do gotta get to soup. And I see we're at the 3-hour mark, which is kind of where I was aiming for the stream today. Yeah, my noble cuisine is almost done. Yeah, so we're gonna skip dungeons here. I think it's just like 2 or 3 more, or 4 more maps actually. And then I really gotta go make soup. The soup is calling. The weather has been so freaking hot lately that the idea of letting soup boil on the stove is just like, no. And we finally have a nice cool day, and I also have that day off, so I gotta make the most of it. And I know a lot of places around the world right now are facing the heat waves, so make sure you're staying hydrated and go in places where you can stay cool. Aura Kingdom 2 intro music. I don't know if I remember what that sounded like. But you're right, that music is really, really good for nostalgia. In fact, since you've mentioned it, hold on a second. An extremely nostalgic song for me. Where'd it go? I'm just gonna change over to it because I may as well. We're getting to the end of the stream and it's a half an hour long. Where'd you go? It's called... It is actually literally just called game music. So hold on, let me search. Nope, apparently search doesn't work in playlists. Actually, if I sort it by title, though... This song is so nostalgic for me. And I know there's no album art behind me anymore, and that's because I got this song from the Age of Empires 2 disc. I don't know how the files were sorted on there, but when you put the Age of Empires 2 game disc inside a computer, it basically was like, hey, there's an MP3 on here, do you want it in your music library? And I'm like, heck yeah, I do. So this is the music that plays from Age of Empires 2, which is extremely nostalgic for me. I used to spend like so much time in that game. Turn it up a bit so you guys can experience the secondhand nostalgia. I don't know if anybody else has such strong feelings for this song, but I probably will for the rest of my life. And yeah, it's like 31 minutes long, so we're not going to be able to get to the end of it during this stream. Wrong direction. Oops. Viewer count drops when I put on the Age of Empires. I mean, I get it, but I really, really like this piece of music. I think the interesting thing about it is kind of like how it builds upward. So it kind of felt like, I don't know if you're familiar, if anyone here is familiar with how Age of Empires worked, but basically it was like a it was a real-time strategy game, I believe is the name of the genre, and you'd build up a civilization through the ages. So you'd start with like really basic technology, and then you'd research better technology, and you'd be looking for resources, and you'd be upgrading your stuff. So the music kind of develops new layers and levels, and so it kind of felt like the music was also growing to like alongside your civilization. And I don't know, I just thought that was really cool, and it felt like as you were playing, when the music came to certain points, like it would feel like, oh, I'm behind, because normally at this point I'm doing better than I currently am. Is Age of Empires like Total War? I don't know, so hold on, I have to Google something. Total War. From the pictures, it feels like it might be similar. But I've never played Total War. And to be fair, the last time I played Age of Empires would have been when I still had a computer that had a disk drive, because I have not bought the HD version that's on Steam. I have the disc version from before we had internet at home. Yeah, we had the disc version for, oh gosh, I think pretty sure it's in the thing behind me. One second. What operating system? It says 1999, so that would have been Windows 98 we were using at that time, probably. Let's see. Yeah, my version is from 1999. The box is a little broken, but it's fine. Yeah, we did not have the internet in 1999. Actually, now that I think about it, did they, like, redo the music for the HD version that was on Steam? I hope not. Oh, not that way. Okay, 2 more maps, and we're already at 40%, so... Roller Coaster Tycoon. I don't know that we ever had that one. Hold on, when did Roller Coaster Tycoon come out? And you know, I actually never got to play The Sims. Oh, that's also from 1999, so yeah, right about the same time. And I don't think I ever played The Sims. The Sims 2 was 2004. Honestly, maybe a good thing, because I betcha if I had gotten into The Sims, I would have never gotten out of it. And I understand that to be quite a expensive thing to be playing right now with all the add-on packs. No, as I said, I don't think we're going to run any dungeons here, so we'll just go ahead and abandon that. Oh, watching your parents play. Another game that I have fond memories of from when I was younger was Theme Hospital for the PlayStation, like the original PlayStation. And that was, that one you didn't even have a memory card for it. You had, it was one of, like, that was a game where you had to, like, write down a code after you beat each level, so that if you wanted to start from the same level that you had gotten to, you would just put in your code. And again, that was pre-internet, so you couldn't just, like, look up the code online for the next level. Oh, hello, Timeless! Wait, hold on. Timeless? No, I'm midday. I've got time. If I was smarter, I would have come up with a better pun. I'm sorry. Theme Hospital. Was Theme Hospital for, Was Theme Hospital for anything other than the PlayStation? Theme Hospital. Oh yeah, it totally came out on Windows. 1997, that's another old one though. You know what? Life's been pretty good lately. Aside from, I did end up doing overtime at work last week. So, just trying to make the most of my day off here. But I also, a friend sent me a recipe to, or rather a method I should say, for a very nice iced latte, and I decided to go out and get the fancy stuff required for it, and honestly, kind of made my morning, despite the fact that it was a little on the expensive side. Yeah. It required milk that was twice the price of the regular milk, but you know what? It feels like it was worth it. I'll probably make another one after we finish. The good thing about overtime, of course, is that that's going to help me, well, I can afford my new model, but it's going to help me afford my new model without giving up on other small joys in life. Like tomorrow, I'm thinking if I do not get a call to work, I'm going to take my mom out for a coffee in the morning. But of course, I kind of think I'm going to get called to work, so I don't know how that's going to pan out. 41%, and we're on to the last map for the day. Oh, hey! Theme Hospital is 50% off on GOG.com, so if you're interested in the idea of Theme Hospital, which is that you have to build up a hospital and treat people, it is currently $4.05 Canadian. Hello, Hansine. I don't know where the name Ackerman's coming from there. Not that one. Theme Hospital. This game is 2026 ready. If you felt like playing a game from 1997 today, it is kind of nice to make sure that it'll actually work. Let's see. Go. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yes, Mikasa. You know, I didn't actually finish Attack on Titan. Now, I know that the anime wasn't like the be-all, end-all of Attack on Titan, but the first season for Attack on Titan was playing, it was airing while I was working in an extremely remote area. Basically, I guess I don't mind saying this, but I was actually living in a very small community called Lytton at the time. And if you look up Lytton now, the only thing you'll find out about it is that the fact that like the majority of it has burned down in forest fires, but it's like an extremely small community. And I was working at a tourist attraction kind of in the middle of nowhere around there. And I didn't really have internet. Like, I didn't have solid internet, so I wasn't able to watch any shows or anything. So I kind of missed the boat on it. I thought the music was really good, and I did enjoy what I watched, but I kind of lost the hype when I wasn't able to keep up with it, so I never did go back. I probably should, now that it's over, just like finally see it all start to finish. Get the full experience in the best way possible. Man, I'm just thinking back to that time we spent in Lytton though. That area was so hot and we did not have air conditioning. So to sleep through the night, what I would do is I'd take a tea towel, drench it in water, freeze it, and then when it was bedtime, I would put that over top of my head and kind of let the cold air coming off of it melt or like evaporate to create the coolness that would let me get to sleep. And then usually around like around midnight, I'd have to like swap out another one from the freezer so that I'd be able to sleep through the night because it was so freaking hot. So if anybody has tips for sleeping in hot times without air conditioning, I feel like that's something very relevant to the present as well. I don't think the tea towel in the freezer is that good of a method because, again, it's wet and it doesn't last the whole night through. So if anybody's got any great tips for staying cool without air conditioning, I feel like that is something that right now is a great time to share, what with the heat wave that's going on around the world in various places. We finally have a cool day here today, which is why I'm going to make soup, but the heat do be coming back. I mean, they have those evaporation towels that specifically hold extra water in them, like they're really spongy. I think those are supposed to be really good because it's not relying on the freezer to stay cold, it's actually just the evaporation itself that does the trick. Alright, we got all our buffs active, right? Oh shoot, you know what I didn't do? I didn't use my proof of mission. Darn. Sad. Oh, come on! I'm only 0.6% away. No, I said it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go make soup, and then I'll come back later, not for a stream, but I'll just come back and I'll do a little bit more so I can get my last little bit of my percent there. That is such a disappointing number to finish on when 45 was like my haha, never gonna happen number. Dang it. Dang it. But yeah, I really do gotta go make soup. It is already after 2 o'clock, and we've been going for a little over 3 hours, which was my goal for the day, was to get about 3 hours done. So with that being said, my Navia Noble cuisine is right about to finish here, so that's 3 hours from when I actually started the grind. So thanks so much for joining me and keeping me company for this little mission we had today. I'm gonna say that was pretty darn successful. We got way more than I was expecting. I thought 45 was like no way, and now I see that it is absolutely completely doable, and I will finish that off a little bit later. But that being said, I do gotta go make some soup and get some other stuff done today, so we will catch you guys next time. If all else aside, I will definitely be able to have a stream on July 1st because that is a stat holiday and I will not be called into work. So, if not before then, we'll see you on July 1st. Bye-bye.